It's happening, guys. The Big Green 127 is back on the channel. And to celebrate, I've teamed up with Sealey Tools to give away an awesome selection of hand tools to 3 lucky winners. Stay tuned to find out how you can enter to win. So here we are, guys. It's Saturday evening and the 127 is loaded up and ready for the off. The plan is for me to hit the road tomorrow morning about 9 o'clock, head up to the Midlands where I live, and yeah, it's going to be about 180 miles. And it's the first long trip the 130 will have done in around 10 years since it was last on the road properly. It was last MOT in 2010. So since the conversion, I've probably done around 150 miles in the truck so far, which isn't very much, but it's been enough to give it a good shakedown. See if there's any leaks or anything that needs adjusting or fiddling with, which is all mostly done now, hopefully. And yeah, we're going to set off tomorrow, see what happens, see how far we make it. No, I'm serious. So I filled the tank up earlier on today. We're going to set off tomorrow, take it nice and steady, probably cruise around 60 miles an hour all the way. Just take it nice and easy. And yeah, should be quite an enjoyable trip. It's not going to be anything like driving the Range Rover. I always find with the Defender it's best to stick below sort of 65, 60 miles an hour, just to keep the noise levels down. And also it should help with the fuel economy because this has even worse aerodynamics than the Range Rover does. So stick to 60 miles an hour, should get good fuel economy, shouldn't be too loud. I've got some good music lined up for my playlist, so it should be a pretty enjoyable trip overall. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the morning when we're setting off. So here we are, Sunday morning, ready to set off. A bit later than I thought I was going to be, but I had a few more things to prep, so we're going to set off now. It's about 180 miles. We're going to take it nice and steady and see how we go. Let's set off. Off she goes. If you guys can hear me, this is going to be the noise I'm going to have for the next 3 or 4 hours. She's not quiet, but she is talking. Gearbox wine, which is standard for this kind of gearbox, this setup gearbox. Because it's a truck gearbox, you find that there's a lot of noise that you wouldn't get on a normal car gearbox, because when you're in a truck obviously you're much higher up and you're sat further away from the gearbox, so Although it's making a lot of racket, that is pretty normal for this type of gearbox. Anyway, I'm going to carry on down the A2. I'll pick you guys up when we have a break a bit later on. Hey guys, just arriving at the services on the M25. We've done about 80 miles, about 100 left. I'm just going to get some bite to eat, get a drink, and then we will have a look over the truck and make sure everything's alright. And then head back onto the motorway. Right guys, that's me refueled, re-energised with this big can of Monster. The truck doesn't need any more diesel because I filled it up before we left. So we should be good to just hit the road and do some more miles. So let's do it. One issue I've got to address before we can call this project truly complete is I need another cup holder. Well, I need a cup holder. At the moment I don't have one. So that can sit down there for now. To go now guys. Done about 170 miles. To be honest, done it pretty easily. There's a few things I'm going to need to sort, which we'll go through at some point when I get back to base. But so far, so good. We made it. That was a hell of an experience driving this thing for 3.5 hours on the UK's motorways. I haven't driven a Defender in a very long time. Like, I used to daily drive a Defender going back a few years when I was at university, but since then I've had like comfortable modern cars. It was a bit of an experience driving one again on the road, especially with a 5.9 litre diesel engine under the bonnet. Defenders aren't really the most civilised vehicles anyway, and when you put a 5.9 litre truck engine under the bonnet, it doesn't really help that very much. That said though, when you're doing 60, it feels like it'll plod on doing that all day long. Before I left, I replaced the front dampers with some Coney heavy track raids to match the ones at the back, and it was actually riding pretty well. I would say the front springs probably need to be a bit stiffer. They're not quite right for the weight of the engine. So we could probably do with putting some stronger springs in the front there. Or alternatively, a longer term plan I've got, which I might start looking into soon, is the fitment of air suspension to this truck. So I'd love to be able to fit air suspension all the way around on this, and maybe come up with like a homebrew electronic controller for it or something like that. Because I think that would be amazing, both in terms of ride and handling, and also for improving its ability off-road as well. But that's a longer term project. There obviously are a few things I've learned during the shakedown drive that I've done today. So I've got a bit of a list of things I want to change and improve on the truck now that I've driven it. Chiefly is the steering. So it may just be that I've not driven a Defender for a long time, but the steering felt very vague to me on the motorway. On a nice flat, smooth, fresh motorway, it's quite good. Sits quite nice and straight, but as soon as there's any kind of truck tram lines, they call them, where the trucks have worn tracks in the tarmac, or any kind of imperfections in the road, it was quite hard to keep it straight, and it feels just quite vague in general. So It could be that it needs a new steering box or a reconditioned steering box. So we'll have to look into doing that at some point. My friends who own Blackbird Industries, who make awesome off-road racing truck equipment, and they build race trucks and stuff like that. I'll put a link in the description to their website. But they build a kit to fit a P38 steering box to one of these. So it's a steering box from a Range Rover P38 that actually sits on the outside of the chassis rail. So instead of sitting on the inside like a normal Defender one does, it sits on the outside. So it gives you more room in that area as well, which I could actually do with. And it's also a more modern, stronger steering box as well. So it might be quite a nice upgrade to do. Aside from that, I do think the engine is slightly undercooled. At the moment, I've got a standard 200 TDI radiator in there with a big RS500 intercooler in front of it. And I just think it's not quite man enough for this much engine in this much truck. The only reason I say that is, in general, when you're cruising on the flat, it stays around 82 degrees on the temperature gauge, which is perfect. But on longer inclines where you're applying a bit more power, the temperature just does start to creep up. And I did notice that as I was driving more slowly on the country roads around here, the temperature again starts to creep up a bit. So it would be nice to get a full width radiator in there, like a full width V8 radiator. So we might have to look into upgrading that as well. Another thing I need to do is fit a lot of soundproofing. I've already fitted a fair bit. So there's panel deadening material on pretty much every panel in here, both inside and outside. But there's not much foam or anything to really absorb noise. So what I'd like to do is put a lot more noise absorbing material in the transmission tunnel around the bulkhead, just to see if I can deaden a bit more of that noise that's coming through. There's quite a bit of a whine from the gearbox in fifth, which is pretty normal for a ZF truck gearbox. It's just the way they are, really. And these ZF gearboxes also rattle a fair bit at idle. The gears inside tend to chatter together. Again, that's just a characteristic of the gearbox. There's nothing you can do about it, really. But we're going to try and deaden it down with some more noise material. So I did try and play some music on the little Bluetooth radio I installed, but it only has the standard Land Rover knee speakers, the ones that face down towards your knees in the dashboard. And you can crank it right up and just about hear it while you're cruising, but it's not really very pleasurable. So I think if I'm going to enjoy any music in this truck, I'm going to have to upgrade the audio a fair bit. There's actually already some cutouts in the rear of the headlining for some little 6-inch speakers, so I'll probably add some there. But I'm thinking it also needs some bass, probably some sort of 6x9s or something in the back, just to give it a bit more power, so you can hear it over the noise of the Cummins. So now, the Cummins itself. So this engine is a 6BT 130 Ti, is the original spec of the engine. So it would have been 130 horsepower as fitted to a DAF 45. All I've done so far is basically the Bosch VE pump, which is the same as you get on Land Rover TDIs, just turned the boost diaphragm round. So I've just given it a bit more fuel when it's under boost. So at the moment it's probably not really running any more than about 140, 150 horsepower at most. So it's not fast. In fact, I'll probably say any tuned TD5 in a 90 or a 110 will probably be quicker than this as it is right now. However, the way that the Cummins delivers its power and its torque, it makes for a really kind of relaxing drive. So there's very little point in actually revving out the Cummins past about 2000 RPM because it makes all of its power and torque so low down. The way you tend to drive it really is you get into top gear as fast as you can, and then you can just kind of idle along on the torque. And it's quite a nice relaxed way of driving it. The way the gearing is set up in this truck is it's on the 1-to-1 ratio transfer box, and the fifth gear is about a 0.75 ratio, so similar to an LT77. And I'm on 33-inch tyres. Now the Cummins is at its best cruising at around 1500, 1600 RPM, which is about where I sit, where I'm at 60 miles an hour. So I've not got a rev counter in here, but I've done some calculations on the Ashcroft website, and it tells me that at 60 miles an hour I think I'm sitting at around 1670 RPM. So that's quite nice, and it's still within the Cummins sort of economy zone. So if you rev it much higher than that when you're cruising, you probably start to lose a bit of your economy. So 60 miles an hour with this setup works quite well. I think if you wanted to cruise at 70 or higher than that, you'd probably want to go to the 0.9 gear set that I know some people are offering now for the transfer box, or you'd probably want to go to a bigger tyre, to a 35-inch tyre, just to bring those revs down a bit. And that's really the reason you fit a Cummins to a Defender. It's not to make it fast, although some people will probably tell you it is. It's just having that power and torque on tap when you need it to get up hills, fully laden, trailer behind it. You wouldn't have any trouble with any hills in the UK. and at the same time getting pretty reasonable fuel economy. I brimmed the tank on this before I left. It's 180 miles from door to door. I've not filled it up again yet, but we'll do that soon just to see what kind of fuel economy we're getting. I'd hope I'd getting at least 22 to the gallon. Be nice to see if I got 25, but it might be even higher than that. So we'll go and fill it up later this week and figure out how many miles per gallon she was doing. But overall, I'm really relieved that the truck made it here in one piece without any breakdowns. It was a brilliant shakedown trip, so I've got, like I said, a list of things that I want to go through now and improve, and it's kind of given me a lot more hope and a lot more enthusiasm for this project again now, because it dragged on for so long. It's almost, you get to a point where you almost forget why you started doing it again, but driving it again today kind of made me realise why I started this project, and it's given me some more enthusiasm to get it finished and improved. So as you guys saw during the intro, I've teamed up with Sealey to do an awesome giveaway for you guys to celebrate the return of this truck, and also to say thank you to everybody who's waited around for these videos for so long for this truck to come back to the channel. So Sealey's very, very kindly provided an awesome siege and socket set. This is a 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/4 inch combination set, everything you need in there to service your truck. Some coloured combination ratchet spanners, which are amazing. These things look really nice. The quality seems really good. Ratchets are nice. Very, very good set. And also this massive set of screwdrivers, which basically got everything in there that you could want. Every combination of different types of screwdrivers and loads of bits as well. All you guys have to do to enter is hit like on this video and leave a comment down below containing the words Cummins Landy. I'll use a random comment picker to pick 3 winners, and I'll get the prizes sent straight to your door. I must add though, you've got to be in the UK to enter this giveaway, because posting this stuff would be pretty expensive to Europe. But yeah, thanks to Sealey for providing all this stuff. I'll leave a link to their tool catalogue in the description below, and you guys can go and check that out because they make a lot of awesome tools for us Landy lovers. So thanks for watching guys, don't forget to leave your comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya! It's been a long road getting the Cummins 127 to where it is, and there's still more to improve and upgrade. So if you want to see more of the big green Cummins powered machine, hit that subscribe button and stick around for more.